This is war cry. We're on the wall crying out for our children, our communities, our schools, our churches, our families. This is war cry. Welcome to our reality. Gun violence. Chicago, Philly, Detroit, New York, Atlanta, just to name a few. Our black children are dying day by day. This is war cry. We're on the wall crying out for our children, our communities, our schools, our churches, our families. This is war cry. Welcome to our reality. Gun violence. Chicago, Philly, Detroit, New York, Atlanta, just to name a few. Our black children are dying day by day. This is war cry. Police brutality. Hands up! Don't move. I can't breathe. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. Hashtag All Lives Matter to Christ. This is war cry. Drugs, rape, mass shootings, school violence. This is war cry. Galvanizing people to pray for our children and to take action. Let's march on Washington. We want prayer back in school. This is war cry. Cameras, memorials in every corner in our neighborhood. Who died this weekend? Oh no, not Miss Martha's grandson. This is war cry. He was only 16. His brother died last year. He was only 13. This is war cry. We the people. We're the elected officials. This is war cry. We need the church. Where's the church? Only on Sundays. Get to the streets, church. We need you out there. This is war cry. Girl, be gone. Boy, be gone. Mothers crying. Fathers being locked up. Welcome to our reality. Identity crisis. This is war cry. Oh, they're trying to remove our history off the textbook. Oh, critical race theory? It makes them feel bad. It's our reality. Fake reality shows. We want the real truth. Stay woke. This is war cry. HBCUs under attack. This is war cry. Equal pay for what we do. We want a reparation. This is war cry. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Wait a minute. Is that somebody else they're burying that looks like us? Only 12. This is war cry. Oh, let us come together and pray for our young people, pray for our communities, pray for our schools, pray for our churches, pray that the government gives us what we need, a fair opportunity. This is war cry, home of the land, home of the brave, land of the free. Who's free? Our men are locked up. This is war cry. Hashtag mothers against gang violence. Hashtag fathers who love their sons. Hashtag what would Jesus do? This is war cry.
I know who goes before me. I know who stays behind. The God of Israel's army is always by my side.
Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. No copyright infringement intended. All rights belong to their respective owners.
This is war cry. We're on the wall crying out for our children, our communities, our schools, our churches, our families. This is war cry. Welcome to our reality. Gun violence. Chicago, Philly, Detroit, New York, Atlanta, just to name a few. Our black children are dying day by day. This is war cry. Police brutality. Hands up! Don't move. I can't breathe. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. Hashtag All Lives Matter to Christ. This is war cry. Drugs, rape, mass shootings, school violence. This is War Cry, galvanizing people to pray for our children and to take action. Let's march on Washington. We want prayer back in you. This is War Cry, candles, memorials in every corner in our neighborhood. Who died this weekend? Oh no, not Miss Martha's grandson. This is War Cry. He was only 16. His brother died last year. He was only 13. This is War Cry. We the people. We're the elected officials. This is War Cry. We need the church. Where's the church? Only on Sundays. Get to the streets, church. We need you out there. This is War Cry. Girl, be gone. Boy, be gone. Mothers crying. Fathers being locked up. Welcome to our reality. Identity crisis. This is War Cry. Oh, they're trying to remove our history off the textbook. Oh, critical race theory? It makes them feel bad. It's our reality. Fake reality shows. We want the real truth. Stay woke. This is War Cry. HBCUs under attack. This is War Cry. Equal pay for what we do. We want a reparation. This is War Cry. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Wait a minute. Is that somebody else they're burying that looks like us? Only 12. This is War Cry. Let us come together and pray for our young people, pray for our communities, pray for our schools, pray for our churches, pray that the government gives us what we need, a fair opportunity. This is War Cry, home of the land, home of the brave, land of the free. Who's free? Our men are locked up. This is War Cry. Hashtag mothers against gang violence. Hashtag fathers who love their sons. Hashtag what would Jesus do? This is War Cry.
I know who goes before me. I know who stays behind. The God of Israel's army.
This is War Cry. Welcome to War Cry. Today we have another outstanding show. We have several hosts on today. One of them is Apostle Keisha. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. And then we have the Hood Pastor.
Good morning.
Good morning. And then we have Dr. Gregory Johnson. How are you?
Good morning.
Yes. And we got another exciting show. Another exciting show. Now we're going to jump right into it. We're going to talk about the situations that our young people are facing. They said that since the pandemic, more Black kids have been killing themselves than any time before. Now, we've got to talk about some reasons why these things are happening. Now, Apostle Keisha, you're out there on the front lines as well. What do you think is one of the leading causes of Black suicide among Black people, especially our teens? Now, this was something we didn't deal with. Normally, suicide was not something that Black people did. Am I right, Val? Hood Pastor, am I right? Normally, we would shoot.
Yeah.
Am I right, Greg? Dr. Johnson?
100% correct.
We believe in shooting. Matter of fact, we didn't even do too much time. We would beat with our hands, and now we're faced with our young people committing suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Apostle Keisha,
Yeah.
what do you think is some of the reasons for that?
I truly believe just having conversations with some of our young people and just engaging them. I really believe that there really is a lack of identity that our young people have. They have so many. You know, when we grew up, some of the options that our children have, our young people have, were not options that many of our children have now. Telephones, social media, I mean, computers, being able to go places that many times our parents didn't allow us to
That's
go.
right.
And so the
That's
more
right.
access is given, the more opportunity that the young people have been able to frame themselves outside of the confines of their parents or outside of their local community. You know, there was a time that your mom and your dad was their word, was their word. What they said went.
That's right.
But you know, people in your community, you know, they could correct you. You know, your neighbor down the street, or you know, the person
That's
that
right.
opened the corner store, they could come in and they could speak into your life, or even they could rebuke you or correct you. But because of the way culture is now, those things are not permissible. And so the children they're created, or they're given the idea, or they're shaped into what they see on social media. And so social media tells them get money or die trying. Social media tells them, you know, you got to get that bag. Social media tells them, you know, you got to have all of these things, and that's what gives you identity. It doesn't tell you that to be raised by good parents and to instill good values, and those are the foundations of who we should be as citizens. You know, we don't really believe in that. As a matter of fact, a lot of young people think that idea is lame. You know, I don't want to be like my mama. And I know that's bad English. I don't want to be like my mama. I don't want to be like the pastor. I don't want to be like the evangelist. I don't want to do all of that, because they feel like that's lame, because of the access that they have. They don't want to fit into the little paradigm that they feel like we may present to them. And so when you are disconnected from your true identity, it leaves you in disarray. It leaves you in confusion. It leaves you completely outside of the place of safety. And so because they have moved so far away from the place of safety, of course the enemy he gonna have his way. He's gonna completely have his way with them. And so now that they are no longer under the safety of their community, they're no longer under the safety of their parents. Now we have the enemy who works tirelessly to tell them, if you don't have the bag, you're not successful. Kill yourself. If you don't have enough, if you don't look a certain way, if you don't meet a certain aesthetic, you nobody's gonna like you. Kill yourself. If your hair's not a certain way, nobody's gonna want to fool with you. Kill yourself. You know, so you have
Now
all
I picked up.
things
Now
that
I
what
want
the
to just
enemy
jump
is.
in.
Yes, come on,
I
come
want
on.
to just jump
Keep
in.
talking. Yes.
You picked up two. We said two words that I want to dwell on. That the enemy keeps coming tirelessly, and when we don't know our identity. Now, Dr. Johnson, what do you think? Followed by Val Ferguson, hood pastor.
Well, I must agree with her from a clinical perspective because I found in my experience in dealing with the youth on a psychological and social basis, the, the, the self-esteem of our youth, especially our youth of color, has always suffered in many different ways. It's so low, and it's tragic. Yes, our youth today have a sense of hopelessness. Also, they have an identity problem. They don't know where they fit in, and when you don't know where you fit in, you become a zombie in your own type of thinking. Also, we don't have the parental support among the youth like we should have and we could have. The parents, and not all parents, but many parents, have dropped the ball. Our youth are left in a state of fending for themselves. They have attached to other youth who are lost just like they do. They're attached to other youth who are influencing them in a negative way that is not crucial to their upbringing. Their identity is being blinded and is being compromised. Yes, it's a problem. So when
Absolutely.
you
With
think,
identity.
so when
Now,
you think
now,
about,
Val, hood pastor, what you think? I can't hear her.
Wait a minute. I agree with, I had the mute on. I'm sorry. I agree with everything that was stated, because today's youth that I see is coming from at least 3 generations of brokenness. Because just like the doctor stated, back in the day, we had parents. No, they wasn't the best, they wasn't perfect, but they were parents. They were in the home, and whatever situations they dealt with at the time as the parents, I can speak about my mother and my father. A lot of the parental challenges that they had, I didn't see, because they made the best out of what we had. I said to one day in one of my college class assignments, I didn't realize I was poor until I got older, because even though we lived in sometimes we had a moment where we got our lights cut off, or we didn't have heat, so we had to boil the water and things like that. I saw those things, but I didn't have to worry about it because the parents did their job. You understand what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
from generation, especially the crack epidemic, the crack epidemic, our people haven't really recovered from that, let alone all the new things that are happening.
A lot of times we're blaming it on the pandemic.
Right. Oh, that's what I'm saying. This stuff been happening way before the pandemic.
Yeah, and we gotta agree. We gotta agree. Our parents did tell us to keep our business out the street. What goes on in this house stays in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And we had issues back in the day. We had some of our brothers and sisters and cousins that were dealing with manic depression.
Yeah.
And because we as a people didn't believe in going to therapy.
Right.
And we believed that, and especially those in the church, demons. But how many of you know you can have Jesus and therapy?
That's right. That's right. Well, now
it's okay.
Well, now
it's okay. We still say.
No, I must say about the therapy. Hold on. One thing about the therapy. Therapy was there, but we couldn't afford it. It's not like, all of us didn't believe in it. At that time, even now, therapy is hard to get. If you don't really have a good medical coverage or even with Medicaid is limited. Medicaid is limited. So you got to have financially, and then, as you said, the stigma.
But I want to say something. If you dial 988, if you live in New York, and you dial 988, you can get therapy free.
But that's now.
That's the new mental health number.
but that's now. In the past, we didn't have that. Yes. That's all I'm saying.
In the past, we didn't have it.
And then
now I also want to say
the stigmatism of Black people don't get therapy. Black people don't commit suicide. There's no Black serial killers. There's no Black this. There's no Black that. There's
it wasn't no Black serial killers. Now watch your language.
No. Yes, there were. It's just not as reported. See, that's the problem. A lot of the things that we went through was not reported.
They weren't reported.
Right now, how many of our children are missing? If you go back in the past, we got children that were missing. They just finding from 30 years ago. They just solving crimes from 30 years ago. So again, it was there, but our stuff wasn't important. They didn't speak on our missing kids.
And let me say something. This is War Cry, and we're broadcasting from New York. And if there's any parents, grandparents listening, the local suicide line is 1-800-273-8255. That's the national suicide line.
Okay.
If you're noticing some behavior in your young people that's strange and you don't know why, we invite you to call that line and talk to somebody. If you're in New York, please dial 988. This is War Cry for our children, our families. We're not politically correct, but we Christ correct. And we're going to
Val,
bring you those hard subjects that the church
repeat that
should be
number.
discussing. See, the
Val,
church should be
repeat that
talking
number.
about the high percentage of suicide in our young Black
That's
people.
right.
Now, Dr. Johnson, what do you think about that?
When it comes to therapy, I would say this, and I'm talking from personal experience. When I was growing up and in the church, and then sometime in the street, but in the church, there was older people that gave guidance to us young
That's
folks.
right. That's right. That's
They gave
right.
guidance to us. So whether you look at it, that was a form of therapy. It was very free.
Yes,
So
it was.
therapy is always available to the black folk or people of color. And it came from many different directions, even though we didn't call it therapy, because therapy is just basically somebody listening,
Right. Right.
somebody listening, somebody giving good advice. See, there used to be a thing where we had in our culture, we used to call it the village raises a child. We had that. We didn't go to the professional psychologist or psychiatrist, and then you talked about mental instability. We did not have it per se. You mentioned something, Hood Pastor, that's very good, and I have to agree with you 100%. When the parents dropped the ball of responsibility of dealing with the child, that was the beginning. It wasn't the gun. It wasn't the violence per se.
That's right.
There was an understanding and there was a leadership to obey the parent. Now, our youth today, the talk of obeying, that's almost a lost thought theory. We don't want,
Absolutely.
unfortunately,
Now, Dr.
our
Johnson,
parents don't want to listen. Our
Dr.
parents
Johnson,
stop
I
listening.
need to bring it back to where we are now. And
Where
what
we
I'm
are
saying
now,
as for now
where we are
is
now,
based upon the pandemic. They're saying the rates have increased. Now we know what the pandemic did with the isolation. Apostle Keisha, speak to some of those conditions that was imposed on our kids when the pandemic happened.
I think if I could just kind of just tap into what Dr. Johnson was saying and to what the hood pastor was saying in regards to the then and the now. So what it sounds like that they were saying, which is so true, is this what we consider to be an astronomical number of suicides in our community is ramping up is something that's not new, but this is the reality. The reason it's coming to the forefront now is, watch this now, this may be offensive to some, but the reality is that the faces of suicide look different as well. And so
white people,
sometimes,
Dr. Johnson, wait, Apostle Keisha, I got to bring Dr. Johnson because he's got something about white people. Dr. Johnson, what you want to say? Then we'll go back to you, Apostle Keisha.
well, white suicide rates, believe it or not, the news media has never really revealed this. It's always been high. White suicide rates has always been high. The black suicide rates are almost non-existent at the time. Now today, a lot of influence and a lot of news coverage on black suicide. But I know professionally, black suicide ain't nowhere near what white suicide used to be. Trust me. They don't gonna tell you this. But white children have always had more problems when it comes to adjusting to society and society's pressures. They've been more resistant. Now, what's going on today is not as bad as a lot of folks think it is. It's getting more news coverage. But they don't talk about the fact that since the year 2010, they have all already had over 3,500 black children who have been missing, which a majority of them are women. Now, let us focus on this fact. The strength of the black community is a lot better than a lot of folks think about. We don't get the credit. That's what's going on. the news media is such a negative influence among the black community and always has and will continue to be. Our black children today are the main thing that we find that's going on is just identity, a sense of leadership, a sense of belonging, and a sense of awareness.
Now, Dr. Johnson, I would disagree with that. And let me tell you something. Our black children today face more trauma stressors than we ever faced. They face more trauma stress. They afraid to go to school. They face their trauma. They face the racism trauma. They face the identity trauma. It's more traumas that challenge them. It's not back in the day. This is a new day. Back at you, Apostle Keisha.
As I was, and it was as Dr. Johnson was speaking about how the numbers are not indicative of what is being talked about now. But like as I was sharing, sometimes when others when we want to minimize, because the reality is when we're talking about suicide and some other things, we can put some other things into the mix with it as well, as far as drug rates and different things like that. So we get the center stage because theirs are coming to arise as well. So what I was sharing was the fact that now ours is really coming to the forefront, but not that it's over theirs. Theirs is coming. It has just as high as ours, but in order to refrain from sharing that, then they have to, well, this is what I see. I feel like they're putting ours to the forefront. Now, to your point that our young people may have more challenges that they face now that they faced before. I don't know if I don't know if I agree with that. I know some of the challenges that we faced before were not the same. I don't know if it was less or more. They were not different. I came up, it was called Generation X. I was a latchkey kid. I came up in a generation, we raised ourselves, right? A lot of our parents were on drugs. A lot of our parents worked many, many hours. So I spent a great deal of time by myself with my sibling, raising him. So many of the children now, they don't know what that is. They don't know what that is because they have other things that are in place and the parents parent very different. So I say that to say in regards to why they're doing what they're doing, I don't necessarily agree that it's more, they have more issues than we do. What I have seen is the way, and I can say for many of us, because some of them are Generation X's children, is how we raise them, how we develop them, what we poured into them. There are a lot of things because we as Generation X, we did not want to, we didn't want to be victims of anymore. We didn't want to be lonely anymore. We didn't want to have the weight of how our parents reared us, with that strong hand. So we gave our children liberty. And so, think about this. Many of our children grew up in a time where everybody got a prize. We didn't know nothing about that coming up. Either you won or you lost. But see, now
but Apostle, let me throw something else.
Yes.
I need for you to consider the pressure that social media imposes on this generation. We didn't have that kind of pressure.
I agree.
Go ahead, Apostle.
I agree that is it plays a major role in the thought and the psychology of our young people. At the same time, right? So we look at social media and we see, because we can see it, we ourselves as the parents, as the adults, as the guardians, we can see that this thing is big. But again, in comparison to children whose parents, we had to grow up and our parents were, drugged, they were on drugs. Our parents did not have time to rear us. right? And so when and not in comparison saying they should not feel what they feel, but something transpired in us and in them that has caused them not to be able to handle the social weight as other generations have. And so when we look at that, it really is, we can say it's the culture that they live in, because the culture plays a big part, but at the same time it really is just how they were reared and the ability to be able to handle certain things that I don't think we gave our children. We didn't give them adequate social, intellectual, and mental skills.
Okay, now I want to go to Hood Pastor. Now, we heard what the apostle said, but I want to tell you, isn't the availability of these different types of drugs, wouldn't you say that they've also driven this culture to a more difference than what we pay? Yes, because see, now they can go in the corner store and buy marijuana. Hood Pastor. Val.
One of the things I want to say right now, when we talking about these young people, I got a headache because I'm what you talking about right now is what I'm in the midst of. I'm dealing with a teenagers, two teenagers that is, oh my God, they're driving me crazy. Right now I'm getting distracted by them, so I miss half of what half of what you were saying. I apologize for that. But when I say, again, when it comes down to today's children, there was so much brokenness in there. That means in that brokenness, there was a lot that was missed. As Pastor Johnson, Dr. Johnson said, a lot of parents dropped the ball. And when they
Val,
dropped the
Val, let me come in. Would you say it's the breakdown and the dysfunctionality of the family?
That's one. That's one.
We don't have grandmothers no more.
Oh, please. The grandmother is as young as the grandchild. You can't tell the difference. I mean, come on. Because we got, again, we coming from generations that's broken. So we got the mother, she missed years of her youth. So she want to blame it on the child. So now she want to be young again. So now she want to find her man. She want to get a relationship. She want to party. She want to have fun. You're not stealing my joy. You're not. Right. We going through that. We're going through that. And this is what, when we talk about the children, we're going to get back. This is why the children are affected. Because it goes back to where the doctor started off, where the apostle started from the beginning. When we were growing up, we had parents, we had neighbors, we had friends, we had communities, we had churches. Look at today. We don't have none of that. You can't even get the church to come out until a crime happened. Come on, and somebody.
Then they'll come out and go back in.
Then they come out and they want to get on the corner and hold up. Everybody want to be on the news. Come on.
No justice, no peace. Dr. Johnson,
come on.
You.
Pastor has a valid point, and I want to elaborate on that. Right now, as we're speaking, in the state of Nashville, Tennessee, the church or the clergy from various different identities and various different states, they are meeting in Nashville, Tennessee. The clergy is meeting. And from what I can understand, I just watching it on the YouTube. It's being led by Bishop Balmer, and he is a very good speaker and a very good understander. I always look at him as, I call him the social worker pastor. They are meeting in Nashville, Tennessee. Now, right here in New York City, here in Manhattan, Congressman Jeffries had brought a collaboration of various speakers, and he's got parents there today at the Javits Center speaking on the same issues that we're talking now. Now, one thing that Jeffries don't want to hear, and he does not want to hear anything about the Black Plague, as he calls it. Now, he's
Mhm.
here for one reason, to support Donald Trump. Donald Trump didn't have the problems that these youth are going through. Can't even
That's
identify
right.
with it.
That's
Now,
right.
when we look at the hypocrisy that these young people feel and what they experience, and now they can see, because the enemy is no longer hiding his agenda. You can see it.
That's
And one
right.
thing we have to look at,
Mhm.
one thing that the young people don't talk about, there's a sense of anger among them that we've
That,
never seen before.
that's it.
They're
That's
angry.
it.
Absolutely,
That's it.
absolutely.
They're angry.
Mhm.
And now they have an anger and they don't know how to deal with it. But you know what they're doing? They're turning on each other. This is what the enemy wants.
Now, Dr. Johnson, I got to say, let me interrupt. A lot of that anger comes from, we're in a time now that we can see the violence happen, especially when we talk about police brutality. And they see this as repeating it over and over and over again. And guess what? It appears nobody's doing anything about it. It was 2 more mass shootings yesterday, Kentucky and Alabama. And nobody is addressing the issue with these AR-15 assault weapons. And so it repeats itself over and over again. Now let's just flip the script. What should, first of all, we're going to do two things. What should the church be doing? And then what should the schools be doing with the guidance counselors and the social workers? And then what should the parents be doing? First, what should the church be doing? At you, Val. And then hold it, followed by Apostle and then Greg.
What the church needs to stop doing is being more concerned about fundraisers. Come on, somebody. Than the people. Because again, when COVID opened the church, when COVID opened the doors for us to go back to church, all of us church goers was excited because we wanted to go back to church. We missed it. But why would we go back doing the same thing? We went back doing the same thing, like nothing ever happened. We're having fundraisers, we're having events where people are struggling with their finances, but you want them to buy a ticket to a banquet. Everybody want to be honored. Everybody want to be celebrated. For what? Nothing. You getting
so are you saying
nominated.
that the church is not addressing the issues?
I'm telling you, they going to the crime scene when they should be at crime prevention.
Okay,
that's where Apostle, they should be at.
Apostle, jump in.
Great day. That's a hot button. Listening and engaging. I'm going to start off with that as far as the posture of the church. And I'm just gonna play the antagonist for a moment. Many times we'll say the church needs to be engaged, the church should do this, the church should do that. As the church says, hey, bring, or hey, we're going to come in and we're going to do this, there has to be a place that the church is welcome. So many times when we see some spaces that have license to be, or they have the finances or the wherewithal to show their face, they're probably not the ones that people want to engage with. But then you have more smaller people who are coming in and lifting out their hand to the community saying, hey, come on over here. Let us help you. We can't do what Mega does, but we can do it the best we can.
That's right.
So it's a catch-22 with the church. And my question is to many is, you say you want the church, but do you really want the church? Because with the church comes our God, right? And so what happens is you want the church, but you don't want our God.
Come on, you better talk now.
You know, it's a catch-22. It's a catch-22. So I do believe the church should be involved in the community. The church should be engaging in the community. The church should be listening in the community. But the church does have a standard that it should maintain in the community.
That's
so
right.
The community know this is a safe place, but this is a God-fearing place as well.
That's right.
Okay, now again, Apostle, let me ask you a question. Many of our churches are engaging in the community, but the community is not engaging with the church.
Right.
They will come in, the communities will come and get the food,
Yeah.
but they won't come into the church.
They won't show up to
Apostle,
get
what
the
you think?
benefit. There's so many more benefits. There's so many more churches now that are so progressive in the counseling. There's so many, there's so many pastors that are now taking courses to become counselors.
That's
not
right.
for the money,
Yeah.
but so
Right.
that they can be beneficial
Right.
for the community.
That's right.
There are so
That's
many
right.
churches that are having they have so many opportunities or spaces, services to be able
Yeah.
to engage the community, not just to pay your electric bill, but they're there to assist you with financial helping, financial assistance,
Yeah.
financial development, helping you budget, teaching you budgetary skills. But you just can't come and get a meal and say, okay, well, y'all need to be there. We're here, but you have to want what we have. Again, we're telling you, come on, it's here. We want to be able to do it, but it has to be a collaboration. It really
There we go. There we go. Now, let me jump in right quick, Val. Let me jump in right quick.
Okay, jump in, Val.
Because she made a value point. I'm not saying that all the church have given up. No, like she said, there is churches, and there got to be, when it comes to the church, we have to stand on that solid rock that we believe in. Like she said, when they come for food, we have to let them know. Isaiah 58:1 says, cry aloud and spare not. Tell our people of their transgression. God wants us to speak the truth to our people. We have to tell the people, yes, I'm giving you this chicken, but I'm not giving you this chicken just for you to eat. I'm giving you this chicken because I want you to come in and get fed the real word, the real food, which is the word of God, which is coming from Jesus Christ. Many of the churches, the problem with the church is many, not all. Now let's get it right. Many of the churches did one thing. They went and did what Paul told us not to do. He said, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of the mind. We can't expect people to renew their mind if we getting comfortable in a situation. We allowing all of this mess to go on in the church that shouldn't be.
Well,
we got to stand on the solid ground. Come on now.
You made me go this way. The church want to be like the world, but the world don't want to be like the church. Okay, I just want to put that down. Dr. Johnson, come in.
A problem with the world and the church. When Christ gave us the perfect example, I was here. When he got them 5 loaves of bread and them 3 fishes and a multitude was fed, that was the beginning and a perfect example of discipleship. What the church has done, we have become less discipleship and more moneyship.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
it's the truth now. You can't blame the church for everything, but
that's right.
The church would do some of the things that Christ told them to do. Before Christ got into his message of salvation and redemption and bringing the people together, he fed them. He fed them. And when you feed somebody that's hungry, they'll be able to listen to you then. Now, the decision is on the people or the people that we're trying to minister to. Now, we have fed you. Now, are you ready to listen? Now, we must take to consideration our people have a problem with listening. Our people do have a problem with following. Now, and it's unfair, and it's a shame, but not all of them, but a majority, quite a few of us now, we've always had a problem with listening. We always want to look at the other mirror instead of looking at the direct mirror to ourselves. One of our great philosophers and teachers in the Bible, Flavius Josephus, says something. He said, each generation is a generation unto itself, but the farther the generations take apart, there's a lack of understanding. Now, what happened in the past is that we had a generation that was based on togetherness. There was a completion of love and understanding in a certain way. Now, today, we have become separated. The hood pastor brought us to a very distinct and particular fact. He said, it's hard to differentiate who the parent and who the child is today. See, a lot of parents had children when they were still children in their
That's
mind.
right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know, grandma is gone. Grandpa that used to give instruction, he's not paid attention to anymore. The mother that used to be there for nurturing has forgotten how to breastfeed. The father who went out to work, he still can't find a job. So he stays away from the home. The child is being neglected.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna go a little farther. But I want to say something that Holy Pastor said. She said this to me many months ago. She said, when our brothers come out of jail, because they've been in jail for so long, their whole childhood is spent in jail. So when they come out, they're trying to recapture their childhood or their manhood that they missed.
Yeah.
So that's why they're imitating wearing their pants all the way down to the ground.
Yeah.
That's why they don't know how to be a father or a husband. And I think that was very important.
That's right.
Now, when we also look at the church, we see that the church is not unified. It has never been unified. It's denominational.
That's right.
Christ did not come and die for denomination.
That's right. That's true.
He died for a people.
Amen.
And when we don't understand that, we can never get together with it. And lastly, on the church has closed its doors to reality.
That's true.
Well, I certainly agree.
Yeah.
That God is the first order of the day. But if we see our kids dying of drug overdose, gun violence, kidnapping, pregnancy, we need to address those subjects in the church. We need to address them in the church.
Yeah.
I mean, holiness is always the first order.
That's it.
But it's also Christ without among the mass of people.
Yes. Yes.
And he addressed things. Now, let's flip it to the schools. Apostle, what do you think the schools can do? We got all these metal detectors, security. New York is putting up additional cameras. How do you think the schools should help?
I really believe, now I live in Richmond, Virginia. I believe, just based on, I even have so many of the children and even engaging with the school system. I'm going to start this. I'm going to go way over to the left. And this is not a blame game. This is mostly about training. I really believe that the first line of defense is who is being hired to teach and develop and administer to our children. And I'm going to say this. I have never seen, and this is not a slight, because our school administrators, our teachers, they are stellar A1. Those who love the children, they love them. But I'm going to tell you all, I have seen so many teachers that are burnt out. And
that's right.
Patience is gone. I've seen so many teachers who bring their own personal agenda into the classrooms. See, these are the people that frame how our children think.
That's right.
If you tell my kindergartner that their color is not pretty because it looks like something that extracts out of our body in the bad way, that's a problem. If you tell my kindergartner because my hair is kinky, it's something is wrong with them. These are the people who establish the minds of our children. And I think our first line of defense is making sure that we hire the proper staff that have a heart for our children, so that when our children go out into the world or begin to engage as they matriculate through school, their experiences and even in how they engage each other, it could be a lot more beneficial.
I agree with you.
Let me throw something up, Apostle. Let me throw something up. This has always been a pet peeve of mine. All these white teachers coming from the suburbs, and they don't understand the urban needs. They don't understand how we dress. They don't understand how we talk. They don't understand anything about us, and they try to come here to the urban areas and try to shape us the way they think we should be. Apostle, what you think about that?
You know, that is because I live a little bit more down south. That experience is prolific here, where we see, and again, there are, you know, across the board, there are good across the board. There are some that are not good, and so we are not going to lump. I don't want to lump everybody into
Right.
one big
That's
thing.
right.
But
That's
what I
right.
will say is, as they are coming in, and that goes back to what I was saying at first. That falls right into that same basket, where you come in and you don't have a heart for the people. When you have a heart for them, then you get to know them. You get to understand their culture. You know, you don't become offended by their culture, nor do you try to mimic the culture and to make a mockery of it. You begin to understand why they think the way they do, why they move the way they do, and you try to engage them in a way they can understand it. But many don't because they don't understand the culture, they will dismiss the culture, or they're demonize the culture because they don't understand it. I think again it goes back to there has to be training, proper training to our administrators, to our teacher, so that whatever culture our teachers and administrators go into, they can understand the people, the children that they're engaging with.
I
Now
agree
we're
with
going to go to hood pastor, but I want to say this before we go there. Curriculum development is key, especially in New York, because if you don't develop a curriculum for success and put books in our schools, just like you do in the the suburbs, then our kids will always be behind. Okay, at your hood pastor.
But the key word you just said was developing. See, like Apostle, I agree with her 100%. But the reason why these people are able to come in with their agenda is because the leader don't stop it at the door. See, if you don't stop it at the door, okay, if my agenda, I got a summer camp, and the name of my summer camp is the Children of Grace. So I wanted to hand the parents a letter, and you know, you always get somebody from the sideline that want to step over you. I'm the leader, but okay. So she said, well, I don't think you need to give that. I don't think you need to give that to the parent because they might get offended. I said, well, how would they get offended? Because a lot of people don't want to, in other words, they don't want to see Jesus. But then they don't need to come in because Jesus' name is on the title. Jesus' name is on the title.
About the public school systems. Now, the public school system.
Now
these
again,
teachers are coming in qualified.
No, but again, like she said, like Apostle said, when they come in, they have to come with the agenda that you lay down. But if you let them walk in the door with this and you don't stop it, and you don't say, well, this is how our teaching is going to be done. If you don't agree with it, they could go to another school. Like she said, they don't check the background and see the mindset of these people. You go into the welfare. How many people you go into the welfare, or you go to the doctor? You go to the doctor. How many of the nastiest nurses you ever seen in your life was in the hospital? But she want to come and take my blood. Oh, no. So again, it has to come from leadership. And leadership is not supposed to allow somebody to come in. If your agenda is this, then you have to make that point. And you don't let just anybody, like she said, they let anybody come into school with these agenda. And soon as
can I jump in really quick? Can I say something really quick?
And then Dr. Johnson.
I was looking at the comments, and I have to say something, because this speaks to what Hood Pastor was saying. In the comments, somebody said, why do we go into their spaces and tell them? No, it's not their space. See, when you come into an urban neighborhood, we're not coming into your space. They're coming into our space. And so this is the thing. And this is, a lot of times we say we need to build our own. If it's public and it's public domain, then
That's right.
everyone has a right to
That's
it.
right.
Right. And
That's
so we
right.
don't just say because it's public and it's government sanctioned that
Right.
it's theirs. Right. We're all Americans.
Right.
All of us
That's
are
right.
American citizens.
That's right.
So we all have the right to equality, especially in our own neighborhood. So if you come into our
That's right.
neighborhood, you
That's
come
right.
into our schools on
That's right.
our blocks that are predominantly looking like us, then you have a responsibility to get in where you fit in.
That's right.
And
Come on now.
understand
Come on.
the
You're gonna make a
community
good
that
New
you're
Yorker.
That's right. That's right.
You're gonna make a good New Yorker, girl. Give me
That's
a high
right.
five.
And when you come in, like she said, that's the problem. When
Yes.
you come in, then you could see what the people need and you could give them what they need.
Right.
You don't come in
I
and
gotta
bring
bring
up
Dr.
you don't
Johnson in.
you don't
Now,
bring
I gotta bring Dr. Johnson in.
Come on,
Dr.
Doc.
Johnson, come in. Come in.
Well, ladies, I have to say something. Everything that y'all saying is a valid point, and especially the words I heard from the apostles, because we have to look at this. It's a bigger picture here. There's always been a disengagement culturally between the urban and the country folks. That's always been. There's always been a disconnect there because they want to indoctrinate as they think we should be, not learning who we are and where we want to be. Now, one of the first lines of destruction that the enemy has used among our people is denomination. Denomination is separation. And when you can keep the people separated
I think
through
his
various
mic
different
went off
means,
probably.
when you can keep the people separated, as denominations do, it's just like J. Edgar Hoover. The greatest threat to America's agenda is black unity. That has never changed. And the enemy's desire is divide and conquer, misinformation, misunderstanding, confusion among our people. We are running around searching for answers. And the answer for our people has always been our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
That's
Now,
The
right.
some
church.
people
The
don't.
church is supposed to be the answer.
The church. Well, the church has confusion. I'm sorry to say, still, the church has some confusion. It has many answers, but there's some confusion, and it's like the apostle says, we got a lot of under, I would say, undereducated people to the understandings of what they're dealing with. Yes, there's frustration. In
No
my
study.
field, in the clinical field, I can tell you right now, I was a little confused for what we're dealing with. Now, when we had the problem with depression and alcohol, we was able to handle that pretty well. But yeah, here comes crack, and now you got a new drug. That's not. We got something that's worse than crack. Before it was heroin. Heroin just sedated the people. Alcohol made us feel relaxed. Sex was a temporary band-aid. Now the youth have incorporated all those different swords that we dealt with. Now they got an open wound sore that doesn't develop a scab. There's no healing.
It's a zombie drug.
No healing.
Okay,
You just said it.
now
That's the
it's
key word.
leading to the destruction. See the bigger picture here, ladies, and if I don't say anything else, it's always been our destruction. It's always been that. That's the enemy's goal. He's not really concerned about anybody else. He knows that we are God's chosen, and he's angry, and he knows he can't do nothing about it because Christ has already took care of that. Now it's up to us as a people to rely on that rescue that he's already done. He's already shed his blood for what we need to do. He's already accomplished the remedy. Some of us don't see it that way. Some of us find it hard to accept. But when we go back to basics, let us go back to our Lord and Savior. because he's already put the blueprint out. It's already been established what it should be in his word. It's there.
Dr. Johnson, I got to cut you off because we got to go to something else. Now, I just want to say this is War Cry. We're broadcasting from New York. If any parent is listening to this, you can call 988 if you notice some abnormalities in your teenagers and your young people. The National Suicide Line is 1-800-273-8255. These are people that can help you. Now, the last thing we want to talk about is what advice would you give parents in helping their kids and observing some things in their kids and interacting with their kids? Hood Pastor, you first, followed by Apostle, then Dr. Johnson. 2 minutes apiece.
Let Dr. Johnson go first because I missed it.
Well,
okay, Dr. Johnson.
I want to say this. What our parents should do is just what the Lord told us to do. We need our parents to go back to loving their children, keeping an open communication to our children.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Not pushing them away or making them feel like they don't matter because the parent don't know the answer. So the parent is want to shove the responsibility on somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Our parents need, and it's a must. When you want to save our youth, let there always be a door for love, communication, acceptance, and understanding. If our youth, and they're much smarter today than when we were, if our youth are allowed to verbalize their feelings, their needs, their wants, and their misunderstandings, that's going to be a cure-all for a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm.
But when the youth have nowhere to go.
2 minutes. Dr. Johnson, 2 minutes.
I completely agree with Dr. Johnson. Being open-minded, being open-hearted, and even where one of the comments says, giving them grace. The one thing we can do, the most beneficial thing we can let our parents know and how they engage their children, listen to them. Listen to them without judgment. Listen to them without pointing the finger. Listen to them without comparing them. You know, when I was your age, no, just listen to them. We don't always, sometimes they don't want the answer. Sometimes they just want us to listen and not, come down on them. So
okay,
listening ear.
Pastor, 2 minutes. Good Pastor. Good Pastor, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
2 minutes.
I want to go with I think it's Proverbs 18:22 says, train up a child in the way that they should go. And when they get old, they will not depart. I've been preaching this the last 3 weeks because we have to train up the children. How do we train up the children, evangelists? We talk to them, we communicate with them, we listen to them. But today, again, we coming from 3 and 4 generations of brokenness. So some of our parents have to be retrained themselves because our children are not growing old. Our children are dying. So we have to start training up the children in the way that they should go. And when they get old, they will not depart from it.
Okay, and we've had a great discussion. This is War Cry. We want you to join us next week at the same time. We appreciate all your comments. This is about the children, our community, engaging, our schools, our churches. We're galvanizing people to come together for action. Now, before we even go, I want to go around to the panel. I thank you guys. One word would you like to leave our listeners with? One word, one action word would you like to leave our listeners with? Dr. Gregory Johnson, you first.
Love and acceptance.
Love and acceptance. Okay, Hood Pastor.
Love, genuine love.
Can I use the same word? Can you say word?
Faith.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Apostle. Strength.
Strength.
Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. Okay. And listeners, if I had to leave one word, our parents, especially the Christian parents, the believers, you need to have discernment.
That's
because
right.
there's things going around.
That's right.
There are distractions happening in our communities all over. So I pray that you have a spirit of discernment.
Yes.
Now, for the non-believers, I pray that you get saved and come into the fold and get a Bible-believing church and be taught.
That's right.
But until then, I pray that you learn how to parent your kids. And if you have a problem, get the resources and help.
That's right.
Our kids matter. They're our legacy. They're our inheritance. And they're the next generation.
Yes.
And this is War Cry. This is War Cry.
Amen. Yes.
And we're going to always be crying out for our children.
That's right. We pray for our children. We pray for our children.
Back at the engineer. Pray for our children. Hit us.
This is War Cry. We're on the wall crying out for our children, our communities, our schools, our churches, our families. This is War Cry. Welcome to our reality. Gun violence, Chicago, Philly, Detroit, New York, Atlanta, just to name a few. Our black children are dying day by day. This is War Cry. Police brutality. Hands up! Don't move. I can't breathe. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. Hashtag All Lives Matter to Christ. This is War Cry. Drugs, rape, mass shootings, school violence. This is War Cry, galvanizing people to pray for our children and to take action. Let's march on Washington. We want prayer back in school. This is War Cry, candles, memorials in every corner in our neighborhood. Who died this weekend? Oh no, not Miss Martha's grandson. This is War Cry. He was only 16. His brother died last year. He was only 13. This is War Cry. We the people. We're the elected officials. This is War Cry. We need the church. Where's the church? Only on Sundays. Get to the streets, church. We need you out there. This is War Cry. Girl, be gone. Boy, be gone. Mothers crying. Fathers being locked up. Welcome to our reality. Identity crisis. This is War Cry. Oh, they're trying to remove our history off the textbook. Oh, critical race theory? It makes them feel bad. It's our reality. Fake reality shows. We want the real truth. Stay woke. This is War Cry. HBCUs under attack. This is War Cry. Equal pay for what we do. We want a reparation. This is War Cry. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Wait a minute. Is that somebody else they're burying that looks like us? Only 12. This is War Cry. Oh, let us come together and pray for our young people, pray for our communities, pray for our schools, pray for our churches. Pray that the government gives us what we need, a fair opportunity. This is War Cry, home of the land, home of the brave, land of the free. Who's free? Our men are locked up. This is War Cry. Hashtag mothers against gang violence. Hashtag fathers who love their sons. Hashtag what would Jesus do? This is War Cry.